Welcome to MinseyCrafts. I am Minna and I am your host on this channel. This knitting vlog comes to you from the northeast of England, from my knitting nook, which you might be able to tell has changed a little bit. So I have a little dog here as well, just like before, but some things have changed really. So I got myself a new bookcase to put here. So I have all my crafting resource materials in here, and magazines and books and such. The only downside to this is that the little kind of a couch a thing that I had here had to come out for this to fit in here, and now the dogs are a little bit disappointed. And I am also, it is giving me a little bit anxiety to worry about the dog feng shui in this room, but I am trying to make some improvements for them as well. So, and I will get to that in a little bit later in this episode as well. Yes, what to say? So the main driving force behind this human improvement here was that I wanted to make my desk space more crafter friendly, because this is also my home office when I work from home, and so I need to fit my laptop, and I also want to fit my sewing machine. Then it's also nice to have a space for cutting any fabrics, and also having all my yarn balls out on the table. Before I get to the episode 11, so I just like to point out that you can follow me on Instagram, where I post daily about daily dogs and also crafting updates. And if you like these videos, please do like and subscribe, because this will then let me know that people are watching and they enjoy this, and they like what they see, and it's also encouragement for me. Also, the other thing to mention is that I am not sponsored by any of the brands that I'm going to be talking about here once again. And in today's episode, I have a couple of finished objects that I'm going to share with you, and a few whips ongoing. And first of all, I would like to show you, I forgot to show this to you in the last episode, but this is a real treasure find from the Northeast Wool Festival that I went to in the middle of August, and I really like this. I only have water in it right now. It's not quite cold enough yet to drink tea, but I find this quite hilarious, this mug. I've had all the intentions to make an episode sooner, but I work full time, and sometimes life just gets in the way. Also, I really need to get into the garden still and get it in some kind of a ready for winter, because it's just really been neglected this entire year, I think. Oh yeah, a ninja knocked into the spinning wheel. So I also have the spinning wheel in my new knitting nook more readily available, so I really like that. And so I need to look into the flyer and the bobbin and see what the problem there might be. Yes, Agatha, you have a hot dog. You have a hot dog. You want to show a hot dog to everyone, okay? Do you want to come up here? Do you want to come up here? Come on. Okay, come on. No. You do? You don't. Okay, come on. Okay, come on. You can say hello to everyone. But that's not the direction to look. This one is my lap lab. Why did Ninja get your toy? Why did Ninja get your toy? Okay, let's get to the first finished object of today, so we'll get somewhere with this episode. I actually made a crochet shawl, and it is Patons Yes crochet shawl. It's on Yarnspirations, and it's a free pattern as well. Here you can see, I'm maybe old-fashioned, but I like to print out my patterns and follow them on the paper. Like I can follow a simple pattern on my iPad and so on, but I think that this is much more preferable for me on the paper. And so this is actually an American pattern, and because I have not, I think this was my first crochet pattern in English. Then I didn't realize that there's a difference in the British and American English pattern language, but I learned it, and it was quite fun. I do enjoy learning new things, and I will show you the finished object first. It is fairly large shawl, in fact. And if you see, the pattern is kind of like a shell shaped perhaps, and then it has this, let me just cheat on this a little bit, this double crochet front post, which creates this kind of a, let me just get it out, this kind of a like a protruding pattern here, and you can see, so you can see the stitches. I'll bring this even closer to the camera, so you can see the stitches like just right here. So the stitches are kind of like outwards, and I really like that. That's very beautiful. I think I've never done that before, and it was really nice to learn something new, even more new than just making this pattern, which by the way I really enjoyed making this. And so it's, if I'll show you quickly how it looks on a person. So it's quite large, and it covers back and shoulders and keeps them warm quite nicely, I am quite sure. And and I think my intention is to give this as a present to someone, so I will keep it presses on the side until it goes to its new home. So the yarn that I used with this is West Yorkshire Spinners Croft 100% Shetland wool yarn. It's Aran weight, so there's it came in a 100-gram hank, and there was 166 meters on it of it, and the colorway for this is Quendale number 727, and I will of course link again all the patterns and the yarn in my description box below. And to tell you, so for this size, that with my tension, it took 261 grams, so I had 3 skeins of yarn, and it almost took it up everything. I used a 6mm hook on this. I started with a 5mm, but I felt that like the fabric turned out very a little bit thick and stiff, and so then I ripped it back and started with the 6mm, which I feel like made it much better. So it's softer and drapes a lot more like this, and so that was the right decision to make. And yeah, I think that was a really fun pattern to crochet, so I totally recommend making this, and it makes such a beautiful shawl as well. Even though I knit mostly these days, but I really like crochet. I actually learned to crochet before I learned to knit, and also I'm left-handed, so it wasn't like super easy, but I was quite lucky as a child that I had left-handed cousins, girls who had learned to crochet already, and then they taught me, and like initially my crochet was nothing very fancy. It was just a double crochet, and it did not turn out very pretty at all, but I really enjoyed it already back then. And funnily enough, when I learned to knit, actually originally I didn't like knitting as much, and I only started knitting more because there was a point in my youth where I wanted knitted items, and my mom, who knits, she just didn't have the time or patience to knit the things I wanted, so I had to either learn it or or not, and not have those things that I wanted to have. And not to forget to mention that I purchased this yarn. I think it was even on the sale. It was very early on this year from my lovely neighborhood yarn shop, Ready Steady Knit. And if you are in the local area, go visit them because they have lovely yarns there. My next finished object is this cowl. I made this as a travel project. We went to London at the last week of August, and I wanted to have some simple knitting with me, and I thought that this cowl would be very nice. Before I'll try it on and show it to you how it looks, I'll just tell you it's this is called Simple Yet Effective Cowl, and it is a pattern by Tin Can Knits, and it's a really nice, lovely pattern if you are wanting a travel pattern with you. It's uses just the 100-gram skein of yarn. Well, there are two sizes actually for this, and I made the smaller size because I wanted it to be more snug around my neck. And the yarn I used for this, I really love it. It's very beautiful. If you can see it in the daylight here. I also thought that this kind of variegated yarn is perfect for this kind of a simple pattern, so that you can really appreciate the different color changes, and let me try and get if I'll put it on this side, the color changes and just the yarn itself. I think it is absolutely beautiful. I really like this yarn. And what the yarn is I purchased this one at the Northeast Wool Festival, Northeast Wool Show, sorry, in middle of August. And it is yarn by Yarn Unique. It's a DK weight yarn, and it is the recommended weight for this pattern as well. And this is the Silky Yak DK. The colorway is called Night Waters, and I do think it's quite a fitting name for this color. I love the color, by the way, in case you can't tell. So this is 100 grams skein and 212 meters. And it is 60% superwash merino, 20% silk, and 20% yak. The mixture, it's just absolutely gorgeous yarn. Like it's so soft, and it was amazing to knit with, and I really loved it. Loved making this. One thing I did notice was highly unusual when I was knitting this. I noticed that so I run the yarn over my finger like this, and remember I'm left-handed, so it goes on my right hand, and as I was knitting, it runs obviously over your finger, and I noticed I got like a dye stuck on my finger here a little bit. So I have blocked this and washed it, so I hope that most of the excess dye has left now. So when I wear it for the first time, I'm hopefully not going to have a blue neck, although that could be interesting to explain, and perhaps I'll wear this at home first before taking it to a town use. So let's see how this looks like. This is perfect. This is exactly how I want it. So I think this is going to be really good for in the winter for dog walks here at home. And what's nice, it can get really windy here, and so you don't want to have those ends of a scarf like flapping around in the wind, especially when you're walking dogs and picking up their poo, and it's just not like ideal in that situation. So I think this is going to be really nice. It's going to be so warm as well, I think. And I'm already looking forward to wearing it in the winter. So there is in this pattern, she has let me just double check. She has so this is the smaller version where I cast on 110 stitches, but there is another bigger version for 248 stitches. Now, because I did the smaller version, this is a 100 grams skein project, so keep that in mind. And my guess would be that for the bigger one, you might need like at least a little over 2 or a little over 1 or 2 skeins. And this is like very simple as well. It's just knit stitch and purl stitch. And I really like it. The one more thing to mention about this, I used the Chinese waitress cast on and cast off method, and because the first rows are on the right side are purl stitches, I found out, and this is always good to learn new things. So I found out that the Chinese waitress cast on kind of like wants to curl more. It shows better on the right side, or the not right side, but the where the knit stitch side is more. I have used this as on the sweater as well, and it worked really nicely on the ribbing. But if you does it show? If you can see, so it kind of like curls inwards. So this, what you're looking at right now, is the wrong side of the work. Obviously, you could wear this like either way. It's not like a deal breaker by any means, but always I really enjoy learning new things, like I've already said. And this is oh my goodness, so soft. Then I do have another finished object as well, which is this Point Edward's mitts. And this was a pattern someone recommended for me, and I have already cast on. I have a ongoing work in progress, making a second pair of these, but I'm just going to show you that I have also finished mittens, but I kind of want to do an episode of their own for these. Then my work in progress, this has been going on for quite a while now. Let me just double check, when did I start this? On July 7th. So it is a pattern by YlloTyll. It's called Trekants Shawl med Løvmønster, and this translates to triangle shawl with the leaf pattern. And I purchased this pattern when I lived in Sweden many years ago, and so it's in Swedish, so I can read the patterns in a few different languages. This is actually the original that they gave me when I purchased the pattern, so you can't perhaps quite see the they had actually this knitted version in the window at the time, and so that's what caught my eye originally on it. And I've actually knitted one of these before as well, and let me just show that to you. So before I get to the actual work in progress, I will show you. So I've knitted this shawl before, and I used the Drops Design Kid Silk for this, and because it's black, it's a little bit hard to see the patterning on it, but this one's actually a really lovely shawl in terms of the weight, and I use this in the winter as my city shawl for town work purposes. And for this one, I put little beads into the into the yarn, so I threaded them like painstakingly. I still don't understand how I had the patience to do that, but it did turn out very beautiful, and I very much like this. So I had purchased yarn, which is this pink yarn from Eden Cottage Yarns, and this is a discontinued Ask Ham lace in color Dianthus. So this is 70% baby alpaca and 30% silk, and this is very luxurious feeling. And I purchased this yarn with the purpose of like this is lace weight, and I got this with the purpose of using it as a second yarn with the project, and to create like kind of like that kind of a marled effect. But then I changed my mind and decided that I will make a shawl out of this, and I will show you the shawl itself. So it's in that's the wrong side I'm showing to you right now. So this is how far it's come since July 7th. It is in a bit of a stage where each row is a little bit longer, and just takes a little bit more time. It's nowhere near done, finished yet, so I have probably at least like half of length left, and ideally I'll use as much of this yarn as I can. I try to not have too much little leftover balls left, but so it's kind of hard to see because it's not blocked, and but you can see the leaf pattern there. And this yarn is very nice to knit with. I am using 3.5 millimeter needles for this. I did start with 4 millimeter, but I felt like it turned out too airy or holy. I don't know what you would call that. So I didn't quite like that, and so I restarted this one as well. Now I think this is going to be very nice and warm for winter as well. And pink is not maybe my spontaneously the color that I would go for. And now the sun is coming out, so I will have to do that. Yeah, so I was saying that pink is not necessarily like the spontaneous go-to color, but I purchased this on a sale, and I thought that, like I said originally, I got it for a different purpose. So, but I kind of do like it now. So I'm quite happy with this. In extra thought, when I was in the first instance starting with this knitting, I posted a picture of it on my Instagram, maybe like this much, just a little bit, like this much. And have you ever thought about what do non-knitter men perhaps think about the knittings they see or the pictures that they see of unfinished objects? Well, I found out in this particular case, a non-knitter male acquaintance from around here told me that, what are you posting on the Instagram? Those are some really weird pictures. And he was saying that he thought I was knitting underwear. And I was just like, what? It never struck me that I was making underwear. So that was very special indeed, very special indeed. But I did laugh it off and told him that it's a start of a shawl. But it kind of showcased to me that when something is like really obvious to me, it isn't to someone else. And well, obviously I had a text describing what I was making, so perhaps he didn't read the description box, because who needs to read instructions anyway? But there's a little bit of a story behind that as well. I think I forgot to tell you that this yarn, so it came as 100 gram skein, and there's 800 meters of it. Before finishing this episode, let's get to my dog feng shui mother. So it's quite important to me that the dogs are comfortable. I like to have them in here. Wool Warehouse sent out this email about new yarn by Yarnsmiths, and what caught my eye was they had a pattern for a dog bed, and I was like, oh my god, that's exactly what I need right now. So I thought that it would be a really fun project for me to make, and also it looked really cozy. And let me just show you again on the paper, because I'm old-fashioned like that. So we got Yarnsmiths Snug as a Bug Big Dog Bed, and yes, It is also in a cocoon design. I'm not quite sure if that's how it will turn out at the end when I'm finished with it, but you will see. And so the yarn, let me just get it to show it to you. So it's like half done now. I still need to I still need to, yes, it's huge. So I still need to then put in a filling. We've ordered filling, so I'm just waiting for that to come before I complete and finish this. So I got these two kinds of colors. So we have a nautical, so dark blue, and this is called warm light gray, I think it was called. Let me just double check if I have the nope, the shade is not named on the label. So it comes as a 300 gram ball. There's 36 meters in one of these. Oh, that's upside down for you, sorry. And it is 100% polyester, so that's maybe well, you can't have this kind of yarn without it being like a man-made, but it makes it better for also, I think, for dog purposes. It's maybe not quite as precious, and they have muddy paws and muddy bellies and everything, so it's gonna need to be washed and such. And also, by the way, this pattern is a free pattern, so that's ideal for me. So this dog bed, like you can see, so the bottom is in the nautical dark blue color. I'm a little bit uncertain whether I have enough yarn left. I only have one ball of the light gray here left, and then what you saw here in my hand. So it may or may not be quite enough. Also, this yarn was on a sale. Otherwise, it's kind of like maybe a little too pricey in my opinion. Almost 12 pounds. So I got this for I think it was just under £8 on the introductory sale. So this is like some kind of a new yarn from them. Now, a couple of things to mention about this. There's been shockingly many knots in this yarn. Now, luckily, because while I just said that this will need to be washed, I don't envision that it's gonna get washed like super often. So, and actually, I don't know how it's gonna wash with the filling. Well, I might update you on life expectancy of this dog bed. But anyway, so this yarn is like mega chunky, as you can see. I have a 15mm crochet hook. They actually recommend normally a 20mm crochet hook, but to get this a little bit like a tighter weave, then you need to use a little bit smaller. And I have a stitch marker here, which is just a piece of yarn because I have nothing this big otherwise. And interestingly, so this has, like, obviously I started this on Saturday, so this is what now 4 days ago, and it's let me just double check, yeah, and it's so it's really quick to make actually, and I quite have liked making this. Let me show you how this goes. So I would usually hold my crochet hook like this, like a pencil, but for this I have to hold it like a real tool, and then you go in, you get your yarn, and seriously, this feels like an athletic performance. Like well, okay, it was a little bit hot as well when I first started with this, but I was sweating quite a bit, and I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to do, but I'll just show you a few stitches. So yeah, this is how I hold this crochet hook. I've been kind of laughing about it myself, but But overall, it's a really fun pattern so far, and while I have no idea whether the end result will turn out like in the picture, as long as the dogs love it, I'll be happy. I'll probably be posting pictures on Instagram as soon as it's finished, and if I can find any dogs in it, ever. So yeah, I think that's everything for today now. So I hope you've enjoyed. I think I had a lot of things to talk about here today, and Ninja is barking at something that may or may not exist out there. And so really what's left to say is thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time, and I'm gonna go see what the dogs are barking at. All right, you guys take care.